Okay, so as I was checking my values on the last video, I noticed that we've got our sword still grayscale. So let's go ahead and make that change now. And it's going to be done the same way. We're going to make a color gradient folder and switch up some of our color values. So we could either copy and paste it in there, or let's just make it from scratch like we did in the previous video. So that process goes like this. We find the value booster folder for the metal group. We click this button here that says add layer. I press Control G, add that layer to a folder. I rename that folder color gradient. I rename that empty layer, that empty paint layer, color gradient. I make sure that the color gradient folder is set to pass through and that the color gradient empty paint layer is also set to pass through. And then I right click on that empty paint layer and press add filter. I click this filter button and I scroll down, find the gradient filter, click it. And now let's press C and look at things in grayscale. So assessing this right now, you can see that we don't have any bright whites and we don't have any darks. And we're going to need to kind of clamp some values around, or we might need to go in and increase some of the opacity on things like our dirt. So let's set this to be a dark, like so, on the dirt. And then on my value booster metal edge, boost that to be maybe a brighter white as well. It's going to get replaced with the color here in our color gradient. So I click there on that color gradient filter. And then now we start assigning some mid values. Most importantly, let's find this color of kind of like a teal green. I'm going to click it and then I'm going to desaturate it a good amount. And that color to be our bright highlights. Because it's metal, and have some sharper hot spots. So we'll add that in there. Dokie. And then we need to get our darkest dark. And I'm just color grabbing right off the image for that and getting it like so. Generally for your darks, I like to move things further down the value range, but also saturate them a little bit more. And put it right here. So, and I'm going to move that color position by grabbing the slider here. Find our mid value. That's got a nice mid value to it. Might drop it a little bit. And this is just the color information we're looking at. So I'm going to press M to see it in the full material mode. And definitely looking a little more like that green. For me personally, I don't love that level of green hue, so I'm just going to saturate it a little bit more towards gray, I think. Just personal preference. I mean, you guys can do what you will. It's not going to hurt my feelings. And now we've got our color values set up. So there's quite a bit of information that we're missing out here. We didn't sculpt all of this craggy kind of shaved metal that you see on the concept. So what I'm going to show you now is how we can do that entirely in texture to get the look that we're after. And then we can also play around with some of this sculpting. If we want to make like the eyes on this face visible, we can go in and do that by hand. If we want to shadow it, it's we use the generators to get us 80% of the way there, but then it's up to us to kind of carry it the next step of the way. And I'm noticing some things as I'm talking about this that are kind of catching my eye. If you see here, as the shadow, like especially in this region and this region where the shadow is, the color is kind of going to that like a tarnished brown, and that's helping it kind of, if you will, tie in with the leather color up there at the top. It's unifying the piece in a big way. We're going to need to get that information on our model here, but I think what we're going to do first is we're going to establish some of these craggy details here inside of Substance Painter, and then we can maybe either do those by hand or do them generatively with a feature called anchor points.